everyone. All right, we have a quorum, and seems like everyone is here. We have a few members, board members that are still coming in. We just doing some adjustments on the audio visual. Just a quick thumbs up if you can hear me. Board members, all right, there you are. See your thumbs up, thank you. All right. If there aren't any objections, we're going to call the meeting to order. No objections heard. We want to remind everyone that are online with us, and of course here as well, this meeting is being recorded live. So we ask that you all follow protocol. If you're not speaking or recognized, it would help if you stay muted, and the board members are a little different. Probably you better stay unmuted until.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay.
Any sound checks we got? I think we heard board member Hudson already. I heard Chuck already. I don't know if the board member Wright, but I saw his name come across the screen.
He's
Yeah, I'm here, Chair. I'm here, Chair Walker, but I'm going to be in your room in another 5 minutes. My previous meeting ran over, but I am on the way. Thank you.
All right, be safe, whatever you do, safe. You know, try not to get distracted with what's going on here. Stay focused.
Here.
All right, so,
Are you able to hear me?
yes, I can hear you.
Oh,
yes.
Okay, fine.
Yes,
Thank you.
Copy that, and see you as well. So, all right. So again, welcome everyone, all of our LEAs, chiefs, lieutenants, captains, deputies. Thank you for joining us tonight. And of course, always, we never say thank you too much to Laura. So let's say thank you for Laura for always being here. So thank you, Laura. Always been here. This meeting could not go off without you. So thank you very much. And we have, of course, Dr. Stoddard with us here tonight. So thank you, Dr. Stoddard, for being here. I would like to ask if there is a motion to approve April 16th meeting minutes.
I move that the meeting minutes of the April 16th meeting be approved.
I second.
All right, any discussions before we take it to a vote? All those in favor of approving April 16th meeting minutes? Aye, raise your hand.
Aye.
Any nays? The ayes have it. April 16th meeting minutes approved. Next is an action item. Tonight's meeting agenda, Thursday, May 21st. Is there a motion to approve tonight's agenda?
So move. I second.
I have a move and a second. We're going to review here. All right, any objections or any other comments, I should say, before we take it to a vote? None heard. All those in favor with approving tonight's agenda,
Aye.
May 21st, aye, raise your hand. Any nays? Thank you. Any nays? None heard. The agenda for tonight is approved. Thank you. Let's move along quickly. Action item number 4. Of course, action item number 4 is the part where the board members at this time could ask from the administrative staff, including our ad hoc committee groups, what it is that you would need assistance from our staff with. So over to the board members for any board requests. I'm looking at the screen and I'll see your hand if you raise it. Anybody here, just let me know. Any board requests? All right, seeing hands online. How about those that are here with us tonight? Any requests?
No.
Hearing none heard. We'll move on to the next action item. Action item number 5, which is our subcommittee is what or I think we should say ad hoc groups. Any updates that what our ad hoc groups are working on in reference to our individual ad hoc groups recommendation work, what we were working on. Anyone have any updates or anything to share tonight? To identify with any ad hoc groups? Anything to share tonight?
Yeah, Chuck had his
Yes.
hand up. He's going to give the update for our ad hoc committee.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. And please forgive me, my throat is, as I mentioned, I think I'm catching something, so I did not want to come in and spread it around to everyone.
Take that.
Okay. Our updates, and that's on 6.1.2, I believe.
6.2.
And 6.2. The committee that I work with, both Alicia and Greg, did exemplary work on 6.2. We are ready to finalize it, and we have decided to defer and out of respect for the time of the police chiefs that are here so that we can keep that meeting moving. We will be prepared to make our report at our next meeting.
After that. Thank you for that update. Any other committees, any other ad hoc group? Any updates? Chair recognizes Mr. Song.
Right, so the ad hoc group that was dealing with recommendation 6.1.3, having to do with the search and hiring of an individual to assist in data collection and analysis for us. That AHG has worked on a position description and circulated it for comment, got some comments. The next step is to find out when this would be, and again, I say it's a position description, it's not more than that, it's not a vacancy announcement or anything else. So the next step would be to find when this will be presented to the Public Safety Committee's Public Safety Committee, at which time I assume they're going to have a meeting. I think it's sometime in June, but I don't know when. But we are prepared to present the position description for the data analyst at that time, subject to additional comments from the PAB.
Yeah. Thank you, sir. Yes, I'm sorry. We recognize Ken first. I'm sorry.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. Just a very quick comment on that. Now, in that regard, I attended, a portion of the meeting of all the PABs of the states held in April, along with other members. Chuck, Alicia, and Robert were there. Richard were there, and this a comparable position was identified existing on the staff of at least one of the PABs, maybe more, and got some input as to the how valuable such a position would be. And welcome, congratulations by my colleagues for that.
I would add, if I may, Derek,
Please.
I would add to that, and I agree with Ken, there was expressed an interest in this concept among PABs from different counties. And we're talking, just to be more clear, this is not just about someone doing our work, it's about someone helping us to understand the flow of information and to trend and analyze it. The reason I say there is significant information across the board at PABs, is that we all struggle with the same thing, and it arises out of the things, standardization of data, so that we can each understand what the counties are doing, so that we can compare, we can we can learn from it, and we can distribute what we've learned.
Thank you. Thank you. Alicia?
Yes, Chair, I just wanted to add, thank you, Chuck, for giving the overview of what the ad hoc group did pertaining to 6.2, but just to put give you slightly bit more information, what will be coming forth, we will be.
You muted yourself, Alicia, or you're frozen. Sorry. It looks like you're muted and frozen. So hold on for Alicia, see if we can get you back. If you can hear us. You're moving now. Alicia, you're muted. Can you hear us? Oh, she's rejoining. Okay. Guys, eyes are a lot quicker than mine.
Were you able to hear me, everyone?
There you are. You're back.
Okay, yeah, I'm sorry. I thought you could hear me. I was just saying that we prepared a memorandum for the Montgomery County Council, which per their request, they requested more information in substantiation of the recommendations we made in our annual report. And so that is what will be forthcoming for the PAB's approval at the next meeting. Thank you.
Thank you. Don't want to miss anyone else? Any other hand? Before I share mine, I'll have Dr. Stoddard, Chair recognizes.
Yeah, so the council right now has tentatively scheduled the follow-up from the annual report meeting to be July 27th. So we got the county executive gets a preliminary calendar from the council. So if that date does not work for the PAB, I'm happy to go back to council staff and request an alternative date, but that's what they've got on their calendar now. The only comment I would make to that is they do take an August recess, and so if we did change it from July, the next likely meeting would not be until September. So just for the board's benefit, that's the timeline Council Joint works on. So yeah.
And I want thank you, Dr. Sutter, because that was going to be my question. So it looks like all the ad hoc groups, from my understanding and what we've been working on, are pretty much in a steady pace in motion. But now we know that July 27th is the planned follow-up from the PSC meeting with PAB. So let's see. Laura, are we meeting in July? PAB?
Yes.
What day is that again? I think you told me already.
16.
16. Okay. So I would hope maybe if we can get all reviews and things done and then come in on the 16th to approve everything, we'll be ready for the 27th as a whole with all of the submissions from the ad hoc groups. Is everyone agreeable to that? Yes. I see head shaking.
Yes.
Yes.
All right. Copy that. So we'll use that 16th of July as our final approval on any working documents or drafts that will give the staff another week to finalize what we approve on the 16th. Is that fair, Laura?
Yes.
Just clarification, Dr. Stoddard, did you say that, I thought I heard you say that it was the next council meeting, is it PSC?
It's public safety committee.
That's what I thought.
Which is the PS.
Thank you.
Yeah, so. Okay, so we all clear on that. Thank you, Dr. Stoddard. again, for the sake of, this is our second quarterly, LEA meeting, tonight, or second quarter. So we want that recorded, and tonight we have, of course, Rockville and Gaithersburg, I think. Yep. In Gaithersburg. All right, and as usual, we always have all of our LEAs here tonight, so thank you all for being here tonight. Are there any other ad hoc reports before I move on and don't want to skip anyone? I'll say for my ad hoc group, which is recommendation 6.1, we are going to again be prepared for our next meeting to have everything finalized for the entire board to look at and make a motion on to approve. For the sake of moving forward with our meeting tonight, and plus half of my team are not with us tonight. So I think it's just Member Hudson and myself. We'll wait for the vice chair when we're all good. All right. I'm trying to see. The next action item number 6, chair's report. At this time, there's really no updated report I want to share, except that I'm thanking all of the ad hoc groups that are just tirelessly and just with great effort addressing these recommendations, helping us to be prepared for this. Now we know the July 27th follow-up meeting with the PSC. Hopefully everyone had a chance to see the letter that we're about to approve. That came through email for Chief, and so we're going to move on with that. Other than that, I had nothing else to report as from Chair's report. Action item number 7. Laura.
Yes.
Action item number 7, in reference to, I guess we still can make the motion with the uploaded and translated annual report to the website when we translate it from English to Spanish.
Yes.
Okay, Alicia, we lost her again. She speaks, and there she is. Alicia, I know you and Vice Chair had a good chance to go over the translation of the report in Spanish. If I recall correctly from the emails, you two are satisfied with the translation and we can make a motion. If so, would you like to make that motion then for us to have that uploaded?
Yeah, I gave one slight recommendation for just a slight tweaking. I did not look to see that was done, but that was my only small suggestion. I don't know if you saw that, George, regarding the graphs and the tables.
There were a couple of those elements I think that are pending, which specifically are the titles of the graphs. Those weren't translated. I think at this point, in the interest of the public, I would move to make a motion to approve the report as it is.
Then I agree.
It doesn't take away from the substance, and we'll have to work on those slight improvements. But yeah, I from my perspective, I think we should move to approve the translated annual report and uploaded that into the PAB site.
Agreed.
Thank you, Vice. See you tonight, but thank you for being here. The chair recognizes Laura.
The titles were translated to Spanish already.
The
titles were translated to Spanish already.
All right. Did you all hear that, Alicia and Vice Chair? The titles were translated to Spanish already. Okay. All right, so Vice Chair, did you want to make that motion then in a
Sure
specific way?
thing. Yeah, thank you, Chair. I'll make a motion to approve the translated 2025 annual report, translated into Spanish and upload into the PAB website.
Seconded.
Leaving from Member Hudson. That's
Seconded.
okay. All right, any other comments before we go to a vote? All those in favor with uploading the 2025 annual report, translated to Spanish, to the website, say aye or raise your hand. Any nays? None heard, ayes have it, the report will be uploaded. Thank you for that. Next on the action item, number 8 is our staff report.
Okay. Good evening.
Good evening.
Sorry, this is the April 2026 complaint report. We had 3 complaints entered in the portal. 2 were defined as eligible by Montgomery County Department of Police are under investigation. 1 was defined as eligible by Rockville City Police Department and is under investigation. We received 9 complaints through other methods. 9 were received by the Montgomery County Department of Police. 8 are eligible, 1 is ineligible. This report will be on the website. We move on to the April special legal counsel budget. The ACC has spent $7,043.75 with $32,325 remaining. The Police Accountability Board has spent $4,140, $9,575 remaining for a net remainder of $41,950. Did you get that?
I think I did.
You want me to repeat anything?
Yeah, the numbers, I'm trying to write.
Which one? The numbers for the complaints or the numbers for the budget?
Numbers, yeah, for the budget for the PAB, I think it was 7,100.
You always go with 7,000. The PAB was $4,140.
Okay,
With $9,575 remaining.
got it. Okay,
Could I ask for the ACC numbers?
ACC was $7,043.75 with $32,325 remaining.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And the final item I have is the Maryland Department of Public Safety and Correctional Services. The in-service training was rescheduled from June 25th to July 9th. I'm sorry. No, June 9th. That concludes my report. I'll hand the floor over to Dr. Starver.
Good evening, everyone. So a few updates. First on the staffing side. So as you can tell, I am not Siobhan Gilman Friday. I wanted to state that Siobhan's last day was last Friday. And obviously that position will go out. I'm expecting it to be posted tomorrow. It's position listed as open until filled, meaning we'll do about 2 weeks of open listing. We'll pull the applicants that have come in over the first 2 weeks. They'll be vetted through our county's OHR system, and they will tell us the eligible list from there. And from there, we can select as many from that pool of people that we want to interview. And then it will stay open until we tell them, stop giving us applications, we've made a select. I have reached out to the chairs of both the PAB and the ACC and asked them to provide participants in the interview panel as we have done for the previous processes. So we'll have both, I believe, Alicia from the PAB side. I believe it'll be actually Mr. Hopkins from the ACC side, and then Bishop Walker has agreed to sit because obviously he sits on both of those committee, the PAB, the board and the committee as well. And then I will also be on the panel as well to select the next administrative director. I'm hopeful that we can have interviews over the final 2 weeks of June. That's a very aggressive timeline for a county position, as anyone who's been involved in this would tell you, but I obviously think it's super important that you all have a director as quickly as we can arrange it. Obviously, we're not going to settle for an underqualified candidate, but we're going to make sure we get the best and get them in quickly. As I shared with both the chairs of the ACC and the Police Accountability Board, I don't have an extra 40 plus hours a week to put into this position, and I know you all deserve it, so I want to make sure you get the right person as quickly as possible. I also want to give an update on Monday. We had a meeting with Versaterm, who is the IA Pro vendor, about both IA Pro and Public Portal. That was a meeting that we had with also Lieutenant Engstrom from the police department as well, because obviously it's a joint procurement effort from the Montgomery County Police Department and the Police Accountability Board as well. It was a more technically focused meeting on sort of the information that we'll be able to take from the existing system and feed into the new system. We had the IT staff, both from the police department and from the county executive's office, on to discuss the technical aspects of the project. They're going to be providing us some quotes here pretty quickly, and we'll be able to move forward with that project along the timelines that I think the then Director Gilman Riley already shared. The last thing I did want to share is this was provided by the administrative director to the ACC at its May 14th meeting, and I want to just read this off for you all. With regard to the feedback the American Police Training Standards Commission had provided to the ACC with regard to the information that they were providing to the PAB, the MPTSC has opined that the information is a well-rounded outcome notification process that was developed and consistent with the guidance provided during the Commission's ACC training. There were 2 suggestions that were made via email that were shared with the ACC. Number 1 was consider tracking situations when the investigative file identifies possible misconduct that is substantially different from the initial allegation. This could be important to the PAB, as it may result in poor communication of what the actual results were. This is implemented by the staff and is tracking the current system. That was the outcome of that recommendation. And then recommendation number 2 was consider identifying ineligible for review as no ACC jurisdiction, meaning it's a department that does not report to the county ACC, as opposed to being, that's what that is meant often by ineligible for review, and making it a little more clear. Ineligible for review could imply that the complaint cannot be reviewed. This may occur if dealing with a timeline issue, but no ACC jurisdiction should imply for law enforcement agency does not have jurisdiction. So it's just differentiating in the feedback there. And I think that was something that the committee, I think, still has to review and act on if they're going to decide to do something with that. And so obviously we can provide an update once the ACC has met again and review that to see whether they want to bifurcate that in justification for their reasons why someone may not be administratively charged. I think that's all I have for tonight.
Please, Laura.
I'm sorry, I flipped the dates on the training. So the Maryland Department of Public Safety and Professional Service and Service training was rescheduled from June 9th to June 25th. My apologies.
Thank you. That was good. Any comments on the report? Alicia, please. You muted.
Laura,
Alicia.
do we have to register in advance for that, to attend that training, or was it, I'm trying to remember, was it something that was offered to all of the PAB members or just those that are training for the AC? I'm sorry?
I'm sorry, it looks like it's offered to all the PAB members. I will forward the email to you.
Okay, great, thank you.
Yes. No problem. Would anyone else like the email?
Yes, please. I think we have Chuck with his hand up as well.
Okay, Chuck.
You might as well just do it to the board if you could. Just do it to the board.
Okay.
Yes, I was going to suggest send it to everyone, please, Laura.
No.
Does it say it clearer, Greg?
One quick thing for me, Chair, if I may, just to make sure that I got the update from Dr. Stoddard on the MPTSC's response. Is that something, Dr. Stoddard, that you can share in writing or anything along those lines?
Yes, I can.
Thank you.
I can share that. I was very much reading what was shared, the report, so I can share that report.
Yeah, I figured. Just wanted to, yeah, just read through it. Thank you.
I was not present for the information to be relayed to the ACC, so I read it to you as it was relayed to me.
Thank you, Vice Chair, thank you, Dr. Stoddard, thank you, Alicia. Any other follow-up questions to staff reporting? We got the dates all right, Laura's sending out the email to us all.
Complete.
She's already done so. Dr. Stoddard will send out what he read in reference to what was shared with the ACC in reference to those two major points. I don't think there's anything else. So we will move on. Action item number 9. See, I don't, there, first I'll look online, see if there are any members of the public online with us. The board takes out this moment to hear from our citizens. Is none online. I don't think we have any civilians here tonight. Then, so we will move on from that action item. On to action item number 10, which is one of the reasons partly that we're here tonight, along with some other things we need to discuss. But the PAB discussion with the chiefs, action item number 10. Again, thank you for all the chiefs being here tonight. So we're focusing tonight with Rockville and Gaithersburg. So we'll move forward with that. And at this time, let's do this for public sake and just for dexterity of recording. We'll have Rockville chief introduce himself, and then of course Gaithersburg from there.
Good evening, everybody. Chief Jason West, Rockville City.
Good evening, everybody. Sean Eastman, Gaithersburg.
Thank you, and along again to all of law enforcement and officers, agents that are here tonight. Thank you for joining. And it's cold in the room, and that was on purpose because we got you under the light. No, I'm kidding. But thank you for being tonight. All right, so let's move on. We'll start with, of course, any questions that we may have for the chiefs. If you can just identify if you're talking to whether Rockville or Gaithersburg. The floor is open. Chuck?
Thank you.
You muted.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, questions for both, but let me go with Gaithersburg first, if I may. Chief, I noticed in your 2025 report that you cited that there were, that there were no complaints. But when I cross-check that against what we have at PAB, I see there is at least one complaint. Can you tell me, are you filing on your report by allegation or by outcome?
I do have this one complaint, and there were 2 officers involved, if that's what you're referring to.
Yes.
Right. That's what we have.
I'm sorry, was that by allegation or outcome?
It's by complaint, one complaint, two officers involved.
Okay, so should that have been in your report or?
Which
I'm not
report are you
challenging you. I'm
referring to?
just trying to get an understanding. Your 2025 report. I looked at your website for your 2025 report.
We may not have got the result back by the time we published it. Is that what you're referring to? Because you
Well,
ended in a part of the year, right?
Yeah, I think that report was filed in mid to late December, so I don't know if it was captured. I don't know if you're filing on your report by allegation or by the outcome. In other words, if there was no finding, do you consider that a non-complaint or?
No, we included it as a complaint. If there's a complaint filed, we include it. I'll go back and look at the complaint and verify it.
Okay, thank you so much. And can you tell me who or what department, I'm looking at your organization chart, what department receives these complaints?
So we have an internal affairs section through our investigative services bureau.
Okay, so that's under the office of the chief?
Correct.
Okay, thank you. Pretty much the same thing for Rockville. I noticed for 2025, you cited that there were 12 complaints, which is actually like just about less than 1/2 of 1% of all the calls for service that you had. You cited that 7 of the 12 complaints are from an external source. Is that from PAB or are there other external sources that you're receiving complaints through?
They're a mixture from the portal and complaints that we get directly to our Office of Professional Responsibility.
Okay, thank you. And I noticed that for outcome, you said 4 of the complaints were sustained, 2 were exonerated, 6 are pending, at least as of the end of 2025. Is there a timeline on how long you go through your process?
Actually, the reason that some of those were still pending, I talked to Shabone when she was still here. We reported those, we sent them to the ACC. I was told that there was a backlog in the ACC getting to our cases, but we get them their time.
Okay, thank you. And I also noticed that the number you do cite, and I thank you for that, the number of use of force situations, and it looks like the majority of them were for resisting arrest. Is that accurate?
They were either for resisting arrest or when we're filing an emergency petition, emergency evaluation petition, and maybe they had to use, even if it's very slight force, it's reported that way.
Okay, thank you so much. And I just want to give a shout out, Chief Yamada. I see you there. How are you? It's good to see you again.
Thanks, Chuck.
2 things before we move on to anyone else. I want to say, I work backward quickly. Wow. Jason, what's your last name again? I'm so surprised. West, thank you. Chief West, not sure when that message came in reference to a backlog, but as of now, everything is passed and caught up with ACC as far as.
Yeah, we got a bunch of case results back shortly after we issued our annual report.
Yeah, yes. As I was about to say, so you probably.
We did get it.
Okay, yeah, so I just wanted to say that, so you know that that's not the case now, there's not a backlog. And, could you, just for explanation, because there was a question to you about the report, what wasn't on the report, and then, but yet, it was recorded. Can you just make sure that everyone can be clear that that case is recorded, you do have it recorded, but could have been by the time your report went up, just make that clear.
Yeah, I think it was anything wrong with the timeline, where the result may have came back after that. In fact, this is Chief West just alluded.
Right, okay, so we just want to make that clear to the public that it wasn't something that was omitted, it just timeline and things. Is that?
That's it.
Okay. All right, please.
Mr. Chair?
Chief, yeah, go ahead.
Could you hold, and we'll circle back to you, Chuck? Just write
Sure,
that down.
that's fine.
For the sake of time, I want to give everybody a chance.
Chief, I want to fully understand what you said, and I think I do, because we're dealing with calendar cycles.
Right.
Something is a complaint on date X, it may be screened, could be screened out,
Correct.
and it won't be adjudicated and there be a result until date Y.
That's correct.
And this is, I respectfully submit that this is a struggle in any data keeping. And I'm not just some numbers nerd, well, maybe I am. Anyway, but being able to understand things and trend things, that makes it hard for all of us. So I respect that. Can I ask whether you and I'll only address the two of you because the other chiefs are not with us tonight, but do you feel that your means of identifying and capturing complaints are relatively similar? Are they handled in about the same way, or again, you don't work in each other's departments? I'm just curious.
No, I'll speak. Yeah, I do. Yes, either through the portal or through the department. However, whether it comes through a civilian directly to the department or through the portal.
And in terms of the date capturing, the little tick marks you put down for everything received, everything adjudicated, everything, exonerated or what?
I will, yeah, the date we received is the date we reported.
Same. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. I think that's good clarification for the public. It needs to know. And so thank you for that follow-up. Thank you. All right, before we circle back to Chuck, again.
Thank you. Thanks for being here. So as we've been busy ourselves, considering our resources and needs, et cetera, just makes us curious. What resources do you have at your disposal to review misconduct complaints? How many people are assigned this type of work? Is it ad hoc? Is it a line item? What is it costing you, and how much can you throw at this?
Okay, we have dedicated personnel for this with direct oversight of that. So the pipeline is always going to be the same. It's going to be the same people that have received the training and understand how the process works going forward. As to cost, that really varies. So we had, for example, recently a complaint where it was at least 100 hours of investigation. You're talking 18 hours of body cam. The report that we submitted was 35 pages that by the investigator. The commander's review was 8 pages. The chief review was another 2. So that's like the extreme end of it. Then there's other ones that are a little bit more simpler. So it's hard to put a dollar figure up. It's quite costly.
So how many people?
We have 6 in our pipeline that generally do that. 4 investigators, 2 oversighters.
This is very helpful. Thank you.
For Rockville City Police, I'll echo what Chief Eastman said. It's very difficult for us to give you financial analysis because we just don't know when the complaints are going to come. And as he also said, some of these are very time consuming. I recently just added a 3rd investigator to the Office of Professional Responsibility. So I have 3 full-time dedicated police officers in that unit. And they're busy. Because every complaint that comes in, as we all know, get thoroughly investigated. Then they get sent for review with command oversight. It goes to our city attorney's office, who also reviews it, and then it goes out to the ACC. I wouldn't be able to give you a financial analysis, but I can tell you that they were busy enough that just last week I had to add a 3rd person in that unit.
Quick follow-up. Just a quick picture. So are there non-human resources? I imagine they have computers, laptops, anything you have in terms of what they need and what they're utilizing to do their work?
I mean, it's good old fashioned gumshoe police work is really what it is. Or Dr. Stoddard had talked about IA Pro, so we do have, there's some databases, the Axon just rolled out a new component called standards, so that will help facilitate some of the streamlining of the data that's going into that platform. But it is good old fashioned calling people, good old fashioned interviewing people, reviewing data. Like you physically have to have somebody there go through every minute of every second of those body cam videos. Very time consuming.
Especially when you get a case where there's an allegation that involves multiple police officers. They gotta go through every piece of that body camera footage and in-car camera footage. It's time consuming, but with our department, we wanna make sure we're doing it right, so that's why we're dedicating 3 full-time staff.
So can I piggyback on that? So sometimes we look at the definition of police misconduct, right? You have violation of policy, law, or constitutional right. And there are times where that complaint will come in and we can't readily identify what the allegation is. But we assume that, we always assume that the misconduct, if true, if the allegations were true, would be a violation of misconduct. So the example we cited where I was talking about the 100 hours, so we knew immediately, like this was a mental health crisis, no doubt about it. And it was, it's kind of sad. It was two sisters, and I'm not going to give too many details, but it was, two people that were in the throes of a mental health crisis. They have been removed from government and NGO facilities. And then they appeared at a church in Gaithersburg, and that church was reluctant to help them because of their belligerent, like kind of discourteous behavior. They had a sidewalk of garbage bags of all their stuff. So those officers spent hours trying to problem solve and figure out. And what Jason here is talking about, the issue there is when they filed that complaint, it's like in this case, they're throwing 7, 8, 9 officers into it and multiple allegations. And so you have to address all of them, right? You have to investigate all of them. And when we look at Mr. Rosano, you were talking about the standardization of data. I thought that was spot on, and being here in March was super helpful to see how the PAB contextualizes complaints and allegations. And I learned a lot from attending that because you're looking at year-to-year comparison, right? And I just want to throw this out here. This may be of help, but I'll throw it out as possible. This is how we do most of our calculations, and certainly in use of force data, which we were talking about a little bit earlier. Would it be more helpful to compare complaints to total number of civilian encounters? Would that be a better metric? Because what I'm getting at is, if you look at it 20, when we talk about the police accountability report, and you have 8 complaints in 2022 and 165 in 2025, and rightly that went up, right? We were talking a lot last time about the increase in complaints and allegations. And, Chief Yamada had mentioned, most of the agencies weren't fully on board until 2024. That was like the first full year of data due to collective bargaining agreements and everything else. So I think, when you look at those 2 years, that's maybe helpful to compare. But I would say this, if you took like all the agencies in Montgomery County and you looked at the total number of recorded interactions, it's going to be a staggering number. But what I'm getting at is, if you look at 127 allegations in 2024 and 165 in 2025, what if, I'm just throwing out numbers, just shooting from the hip here. Let's say you had 200,000 total civilian encounters in 2024 and 250,000 countywide in 2025. Well, that would kind of necessarily explain or help explain some of the increase in complaints. And I can talk, I'll pause there. I know that's a lot.
No, it's, and I think, and we're because I don't think we want to go too deep into rabbit hole on that. Yet, from our first quarterly meeting with MCPD Chief Yamada, while he was here, we had this open communication and understanding now that there's an ask, and it's on those lines of that information that you would have that we wouldn't see.
Sure.
You would see it first. So upon you seeing it first, and then what you share with the PAB is something that's always welcome, because again, it's a part of analysis and looking into what we can find with those type of numbers and actions to really have accurate trends. So, and this is what this is all about.
Agree, and you talked about some of the limitations and data that you're receiving. And that's what occurred to me during that meeting, walking in, I'm like, oh, that would be helpful if we supplied something like that. To kind of get like I don't want to say batting average, because it would be a low number, and I don't know that poorly, but I think that would contextualize it a little bit more. So just real granular, and I don't want to speak for all the agencies here, but you know, we have roughly 28,000 civilian encounters reported every year, between calls for service, traffic stops, follow-up investigations, things of that nature. And if you look at, so if you did that over the course of the PAB report, so that's 3 years, roughly 75,000 total civilian action encounters over the span of what the report is capturing. And we had 5 complaints over that time. So that's like 0.00007%. I think that adds better context to what it is. And I don't want to listen, like Chief Yamada last time was talking about Chick-fil-A. And it probably speaks to like his hunger or whatever was going on during that meeting. I don't want to call him out there. But I thought that was like a good example of a properly run, that resonated, because that's a good example of a properly run business. Like, it's a good business model. And I was thinking like, yeah, if you ran a business and you had 28,000 civilian encounters per year, for 3 years, 75,000 total, and you had 5 complaints over that time, you would conclude you're killing it. You would conclude your training, your hiring, and all that, or like you're doing well. That doesn't mean that there isn't legitimate complaints and you don't need to address police. That's also true. But I just kind of want to highlight that because I thought that was a good analogy.
And we have an action item to get back to that. So this is the reason why we're hearing. But that's one of our next action items. So we'll be able to circle back to that, which would speak to where we moved from the first quarterly meeting in that conversation that you had referenced with the chief. So we'll be able to circle back to that in our next action item. So here we just want to finish questions and give you a chance to ask and talk, and then you were just doing some of those lines.
I was in Chief West's crystal ball, like I'm singing.
Okay, I think member. Right.
Probably doesn't matter a lot, but you mentioned, I think you said 6 staff members are dedicated to. Is that
correct? Yeah,
okay?
We have there's investigators and listen, you try to match it up based on complexity. So like it's our detectives are general detectives. So if they do backgrounds, they do criminal investigations, just like Rockville. So you have to kind of look at the workload assigned to how long is this going to take? How much, what are the resources that are going to get put into this? And you kind of match that person to the investigator.
Sure. And they're probably doing various and sundry other investigations.
Correct.
They're not solely dedicated to.
Right.
So, but over 3 years, you would be able to discern a trend in terms of the human input in that particular effort, and then discern a cost. Are they being paid overtime or special compensation for?
We do allow for overtime, if it's that complex, for sure. But like as we said earlier, I mean, you could have a real general. We haven't had a courtesy violation, but that if it was just a quick encounter, that may be a quicker one to do versus the.
These are great numbers. I'm just thinking efficiency, though.
Right.
For the record, just so you all know, you didn't ask me, but we have 7 in Montgomery County. We have a couple of vacancies, but that's all they do. They only do
fully
account repairs.
Okay. Thank you.
I know Greg, Chuck, you've been waiting to circle back, but Greg's been silent. Alicia, we heard Alicia, the 2 vice chair. Any other questions? Chuck, I said you could circle back.
Yeah, thank you. But actually, Chief West answered my question as he was speaking, and that was just to find out. And I understand that the Office of Professional Responsibility handles complaints for your department. Is that correct?
Yes, sir, that's correct.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? All right, we will then, of course, to both Chief Eastman and Chief West. Any questions or talking points or things you would like to share in reference to? And I want to say this, I'll leave with this in that. I think the segue is because the public, as this is being recorded, needs to understand that the Police Accountability Board and the LEAs, according to the legislation, have been able to work in an effort to best serve the community in a transparent way and not in an adversarial way. I think we cleared that up at the last meeting, that these members that are on this board have just that in their hearts and minds, where we understand that just like in any organization or body, just because there are two different ways of seeing things doesn't mean you have to be disrespectful or disagreeable, right? It's just, you have different views, and that's what's healthy, to talk about those in a comfortable way, even though it may be some uncomfort. But we're here now to bring transparency, and one of the things we moved from that first quarterly meeting again, and even Chief Eastman, as he was just brainstorming and sharing with us, is that information is always key when you have a body that's built on the idea of information coming up with trends from that pieces of information. So the more you have, the more it's better. And that way we can balance out what the public sees in any report that comes, whether it's from the LEAs or from the PAB. So we want to make sure that we now are staying on that line. So thank you again for that, and for that understanding, and for the public to know that's where we are. But again, Chief West, Chief Eastman, anything you guys want to ask Pat, or just to be clear so the public can know there's nothing we can answer about the ACC because it's a separate entity. Some of that stuff is a lot, of course, we can't go into because of identity and clauses and safety for everything. So please.
I held the mic already. You.
Oh, I really don't have anything. Just to follow up to Mr. Wright's question. You had asked Chief Eastman, what other duties does his internal affairs officers have?
Sure.
Just for Rockville Police. So like Chief Eastman said, our 3 dedicated personnel, they handle all complaints that come in. They investigate them. They also do all of our background investigations for all of our new hires. They do the background vetting for police candidates, for, we also have professional staff, so they also vet those folks. They've been extremely busy because over the last year or so, we've hired 18 new police officers. So while that work is important, we added additional personnel there because following up on complaints from the community is a top priority for accountability. So I just wanted to kind of give you a little overview of what our folks are doing.
Yeah, can I piggyback on the training aspect? So the report had several recommendations for training, and I think Chief Amato was talking about it last meeting about the agencies that are all represented here are exceeding that. I would agree with that. I think it's important, so to talk about how that training occurs. So when you look at the training and you have implicit bias, de-escalation, and whatever it may be, that's not just classroom. So it's also in scenario, because your report rightly stated, let's focus on scenario-based training, because that is important as well. You have the classroom and you have the application. And I want to just make sure that a couple of things, like one, we do not train in silos. So for example, if an officer is going through taser training, for example, they don't just get taser scenarios. They're going to get de-escalation, they're going to get mental health, they're going to get implicit bias, they're going to get ICAD, integrated communication assessment and tactic. They're going to get all of those things. We also talked about entry level last time, where the state mandates 850 training hours, where we send most of our police officers to Montgomery County. They have fantastic instructors. It's a fantastic product. And that's 1,200 hours of training. And, you know, we also send them to Frederick, which is another great training academy. But, you know, I don't think we do a good job talking about like what that training actually is sometimes. You know, you can just say like, hey, we do this annually. What does that even mean? So I just want to kind of walk that out a little bit when we talk about because in the report we talk about allegations and training. I just want to highlight that point that, you know, these are the metrics we're meeting.
I would like to, Chief Eastman, set up something with you to hear a lot more about that, because, again, that is important, pieces of information, that fits right into the PAB's, mandate in reference to, what we're looking at, and that can also, fairly and equitably speak to the LEAs, to what we're dealing with. So that's what I think. Let's do that. Yeah. We do that.
Sounds great.
Make something that comes.
Sure. Just a quick follow-up to Chief West. Can you elaborate on what goes into a background investigation? I imagine it's more than sometimes I would do, which would be like, 2 out of 3 references.
Oh, of course.
Yeah,
So, you know, we're guided by code mark regulations. There's certain disqualifiers that are immediate disqualifiers. But there's a lot of things that go into it. Obviously, the criminal history check. We're required to check in, previous employers, neighbors, relatives. We want to make sure there's no ongoing domestic violence. We check police databases to make sure they're not a suspect in a crime, what crimes if they've been involved in a crime, or what encounters they've had with law enforcement. It's a very comprehensive process.
Okay.
And it doesn't just stop there. Then there's a psychological evaluation, a polygraph examination. So it's pretty intensive because we want to make sure we're hiring good candidates.
By checking, you probably mean you're actually talking to people.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Our investigators, you know, they can make these phone calls on the phone, but as Chief Eastman said, good old fashioned gumshoe police work. Our investigators, our internal affairs investigators, they'll go out and do neighborhood canvas. So if we know where the recruiter, the applicant lives, obviously we do because they give us their address, we'll go make contact with their neighbors, personal contact. Again, it's a lot of work, but we want to make sure we're thoroughly vetting these people and we're hiring the best candidates.
So the officer you rode with was completely vetted, so you were safe.
I started having questions, then we'll circle back to you.
So, Chief West, so one of the things that Siobhan had relayed to me before she left was, she found I think this is your practice, that you have the city attorney review files after the investigation was finished before the transmit to the ACC, because the city attorney would have to represent anything in the trial board. Talk a little bit about why you did that practice. And Chief Eastman, I was curious whether you do something or not similar in the city of
Yeah, we do it because obviously if there is a trial board or there's this is contested, I want our attorney, who is the city attorney, to be on board right up front. Yeah, that's really why we do it.
I'm sorry, Chief West, when you say be on board, does that mean one side?
No. I want them to know about the case, number one. If somebody elects a trial board, it's our city attorney that has to basically prosecute that case.
Okay.
So we send it there. Obviously, I review it. I send a recommendation letter, and then it all goes off to the ACC. I'm not sure our other departments doing that. Yeah. That's our practice.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, Ron. Oh, yeah, Chief West. Listen, you mentioned you had 17 new hires.
18.
18
last year.
And so, were there augmentation of the force, or there were some folk that retired, or?
So I'll be quite candid with you and the general public. Our police department has gone through peaks and valleys when it comes to staffing, like every other police department in the region. You know, not that long ago, 3-4 years ago, we had 22 sworn vacancies for a 67-person police agency. I was not the chief then, but there was some concern because we couldn't hire, we couldn't retain. So I'm not sure, for a variety of factors. We made some internal changes. Obviously, our police administration changed about a year and a half, almost 2 years ago. Your best recruiters are your police officers. And, our police officers do a really good job recruiting. Right now, I think at last check, we're getting ready to run a hiring process to fill our overhires. Our city allowed us to hire 3 overhire positions. And we got some additional positions in this coming budget year. So in first part of June, I remember when our department, we might have gotten 10 applications. Wow. We have over 170 applications that we will invite those folks out for testing the first part of June. I'm not really sure how it happens, why it happens, but I'm happy it's happening.
Well, it happened when you came off. I'm just interested in knowing what, if anything, you think you did to distinguish yourself from other departments that are still struggling to find recruits.
Well, I think hiring and retention struggles, it varies from agency to agency. I can only speak about my agency. Okay. I know Chief Eastman's having a lot of success right now, but I can tell you some of the things we've done. When our staffing fell, our specialized units collapsed. We had to take detectives and traffic officers. They all had to go back to patrol. Now that we're hiring folks, those specialized units are back in force. Our detective unit staffed. We added a second canine to our department this year, which is a bloodhound, which we've never had before. We've added additional people to our traffic unit. Just within the last month or so, we had the CEO assigned to all high schools in the city. And that's a change from, we used to only cover Richard Montgomery High School. So not only is, in my opinion, morale's good, the culture's changed, but there's a lot more opportunity. Typically, if a police officer applied for a police job and they wanted to be a detective or they wanted to be on the SWAT team, they would have to apply to Chief Yamana's department because a large department has all those opportunities. We're not a large department. We're authorized 76 sworn staff, but we do provide those opportunities, and I think that attracts candidates.
Can I piggyback on that? You guys mind? The overhires are critical. You cannot pass on good candidates nowadays. You just can't afford it. If you miss that cycle, that academy cycle, you're down a year, right? Because if you don't get into the academy, you don't get them through field training, you've missed that complete boat. Another thing I'll say is, like, when I talk to my criminal justice students, I'll say, hey, listen, when you go to these recruiting events, these agencies in here all offer great things, and generally speaking, the benefits are going to be similar. Take home program pay, it's going to be in the ballpark. A raise for another agency is good for another agency, right? Because they have their force to try to kind of keep up with that for market comparison. But what I always tell the students is, like, when you go to a recruiting event, what you should be asking is, what is the morale like at that agency? What is the culture? What is the leadership? What is the political support? That is also massive. Shout out to Gaithersburg, they're awesome.
So is Rockville.
Yeah. I gotta get that in. We're like, so we had, like, everybody knows Mayor Judd Ashman. He's super supportive of our agency. That's important. That's important that you have politicians that are publicly supporting your agency. You've heard the horror stories across the country, and unfortunately, it has it locally, where you have politicians that defund the police on their active social media today. That's a killer. That can't happen.
For both of you, Chief West first, 2-part question. Can you tell me what % of full staffing you are at? And the second part of the question is, what is your your turnover rate?
Our turnover rate used to be very high. 2-3 years ago, we hired 7 or 8 academy candidates. We sent them to the academy. We graduated 1. But I'll tell you, I think because at that time, predates me in this job, the entry-level requirements for our police agency were dropped. They dropped the standard to hire people. pretty quickly in November 24, we raised it back up.
Yeah.
And I think we're getting better applicants, we're getting better candidates, because they're physically fit, they can get through the academy. There's a physical aspect to the academy. So we're lucky in that regard. As far as,
percent staff.
well, up until, late this afternoon, we were full. But I got a lieutenant retiring, but he deserves it. He's put in 37.
Oh, you're gonna let him retire?
We're letting him retire. He served 37 years in the city.
Okay, Chief Eastman, same too?
Yeah, about the hiring there, lowering standards, shortcuts now or problems later.
Yes.
I'm just telling you. You get, I don't know how many times you want to hit that hot stove, you know, with that should be a lesson learned in my opinion. We lose about between 5 and 6 officers a year. We're fully staffed. We're actually going to be extending over hires come July 1 when the new authorized position starts. So we have a good pipeline and really good candidates. But we're doing very well.
We're actually drawing applicants that are certified police officers from other police agencies, not just all brand new recruits that go to the academy. We just hired several from in my opinion, very reputable police agencies that came to work in Rockville.
This is becoming East versus West over here.
I want on the record, I never called you Chief East.
So, I have a final question, and then we kind of move on to the next action item that we have to get done. To both of you. I know from all the ride-alongs that I've done with almost all the agencies, I've done more than one ride-along. And I know between Rockville and Gaithersburg, sometimes whether you're CAD or whatever, I don't know if y'all still hearing each other's, but I know you can sometimes end up at the same call, depending on where it is on Shady Grove Road. Right, it's possible. Is the policy that, let's say, Rockville was the first on the scene. Gaithersburg followed up. There's some interaction from both agencies with and on that scene with citizens. Is it mandated in policy that even if you weren't first on the scene, that your BWC is turned on, so it's cross-referenced, or you don't because Rockville was in first or vice versa?
Oh, they're going to activate their body one camera every time.
Every time.
Yeah.
Same thing.
Yeah. And we're going to tell them to go back over the line. We got it.
And we're going to tell them. And we're going to tell them it happened in Gaithersburg. There you go.
I don't want to miss any of the members online. Any final questions or anything? Chief Weston, I just thought about.
Alicia has had her
Yeah,
hand up.
yeah. Bishop, I've had my hand up for a while now. I guess you guys can't see. You can't see. Maybe there's something wrong with my screen or something.
I didn't see. I would have called.
Yeah, it's been up for a while, but no, these are all very important and very good conversation that I'm listening to. But I had some very pointed questions for both chiefs, and one of which is there's still a general problem with trust in the community of color, persons of color. There's a general distrust. Do you all perceive any need to reach out, or what do you envision are some things that you can or have done to improve or restoring that trust with persons, with communities of color?
I go first.
Oh, go ahead.
So after you had the protests in 2020, we realized that most of the organizers were the same with the protests that we were having. And so we got together as a staff and said, like, well, why don't we approach and create a dialogue with those organizers? So we created a group. It's called Police and Community Together, and we've met over the course of several years, and we looked at hiring. They did, to their credit, they went to the academy, did use of force scenarios. We brought in speakers from the state's attorney's office, defense attorneys, civil rights persons, and had really good dialogue and did a listening session. So that's like one major thing that we do. We've been fortunate, again, knock on wood, that we haven't had the racial bias and discrimination complaints. And it may be due to some of these efforts, and being professional, courteous on stops. And I'll turn it over to Chief West.
Yeah, a couple of the things that we do, if anybody, especially the listening public, follows Rockville Police on our social media, whether it's Facebook, X, Instagram, we have a very robust community engagement, community services unit. Our community services officers, I mean, sometimes I feel like they're working 7 days a week. They're at every community event. They don't miss one. That's very important because we're out in the community. We're starting a new initiative just this year. It starts in June. It's called the Police Education Program. It was advertised on the city's webpage, on our social media page. It's essentially our updated version of the Citizens Police Academy. Our department used to run those some time ago, and they stopped when our staffing was low. We didn't have the ability to do it. But this year we're bringing it back. It's going to be about a 6 to 8 week program, very similar to what the county runs. Just another opportunity for us to interact with members of the community, all members of the community. We also have dedicated staff members from the command staff that are assigned to every community HOA in our city. So when they have their monthly meetings, we go. We're always there. We're there to interact. We're there to provide information and answer their questions. And I think we've been very successful in doing that and staying connected with our communities here in the city.
Thank you. And then my last question is, what percentage of your force is persons of color? I'm not aware of the percentage. And are you, is there an interest in recruiting? I believe Chief Jones in the past had mentioned going to HBCU campuses. Is there an interest in recruiting persons of color?
We're at about 40%. And always an interest in recruiting. It's interesting you asked that question because in that Police and Community Together group, it was a challenge because anytime we had a hiring process, we sent them the link. Hey, would you send this out? And they said we don't want any of our friends and family to be the police. It was, it's a tough hurdle. It's a real thing because of that, that mistrust there. So we are fortunate too that we are in that diverse area. That does help with recruiting. But it is, so we're about 40% to answer your question.
Thank you.
I don't have the, I'm sorry, I don't have the exact number. I'd be happy to get it for you, but I'll tell you this, just like the chief just said, if you would attend any of our recruiting events, we hold them at Montgomery College. Number one, this is a very diverse area. Our applicant pool is very, very diverse. And I mean, there have been times where, when we have one of our last academy classes, I think of the 7 graduates, we had one Caucasian male and one Caucasian female. And then we have people from all different backgrounds, African-American, Vietnamese, Cantonese. It's pretty spectacular to see that. We want to hire the best candidates, but our applicant pool is very, very diverse. And, I'm very happy to report that.
Thank you.
What our team look like?
The ones we just hired? Well, I don't have it right with me, but I can tell you it's very diverse. We actually have more. We actually have more female police officers in our department now than we ever had.
Okay. Vice Chair, hand has been up. But Chief West, would you please get us that
100%.
to request it?
I'll email it tomorrow.
Yes, sir.
Yep.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Chair, as well. I think in future meetings, I will humbly request that we have this East versus West every time. I particularly enjoy it. I think it's great. No, but in all seriousness, I've had the opportunity to meet Chief West in person. I think, I respect your leadership, Chief, and I'm sorry I'm not there in person, Chief Eastman. I'm looking forward to the opportunity of meeting you as well. I just wanted to address the feedback that you gave at the outset. I think it's spot on. I would agree with you that having that information of encounters as well would further contextualize the data. It would complement, in my opinion, what we try to do with the staffing levels across agencies, right? How large or small these agencies are. But again, I agree with you. I think more information is better. So that's definitely acknowledged, and I appreciate the feedback. At the same time, I would also just say that, the complaint in and of itself is not something that we want to try to minimize through the context, right? We know that these are real complaints, and like you said, you investigate all complaints. That's the same way that we approach the complaints that we get in. To a certain extent, I don't want to get ahead of myself, and I'll just wrap this up. We only see one part of this equation, um, sort of one third of the whole picture, are complaints that we receive versus complaints that the other law enforcement agencies receive, and also whatever the ACC gets that we might be able to get some information from. So all of that is really what encompasses the whole of the interaction of police in our community. We only see a part of that, and that's also I think why we are trying to get more of that information to your point, Chief Eastman. So again, just thanking you for that, for the feedback, and hopefully we can work more closely together in the future.
Outstanding. That is a good segue into action item number 11. And we'll start with that segue, which every member should have had the chance to see the email sent out from special counsel in reference to a letter that we're sending out to Chief Mata, based on our first quarter meeting and the mutual agreement that we had. He said they have ask, and so we created an ask and we wanted to make it official based on his invitation. So I wanted to make a motion that that letter be sent. Is there a second?
Seconded.
Any other discussion? All those in favor on sending that letter out to Security and Chief Demano, say aye, raise your hand. Any nays? The ayes have it. Approved and sent out. Are there any other PAB or business that needs to be discussed tonight? I think we're pretty much on track on everything based on subcommittee suggestions and preparation. I see Vice Chair.
Very quickly, thank you, Chair. I think we need to take another look through the PAB's complaint portal for some potential changes on required information and information that we think that we've recommended our LEAs provide. Just a little bit of a review of the PAB complaint portal.
Now, on the jump tracking device, you saying you want to walk through that now? Is that what you're saying?
No, I'm just providing the sort of the information preliminarily, but something that I think we should incorporate in the future.
Copy that. Right, I agree. What we are doing now which is part of the legislation, is the reason for these quarterly meetings with our LEAs and agencies is to continue to build that reciprocal and working relationship that best gives us everything we need, that makes it easier and more clearer to the public of the men and women who have sworn to protect and serve. And this board that also took, we also swore that we would stand up to the mandate and do what's right in making sure that we have that working reciprocal relationship that brings understanding and clarity. So we're really moving in the right direction here. Starting with, of course, the largest and at his invitation, but it's going to go out to all the LEAs. You'll be getting the same once we move through that with that motion. I think it was something else I wanted to say in reference to. So we approved that, it's been approved. The second, everyone should have, the board members also received the draft that had a point, time to comment on the document to go out to the ACC from the PAB. Everyone should have had a chance to see that. And I think I had one or two people who made some comments and kind of adjusted some things. So is there a motion for us to move forward with submitting that letter to the ACC from the PAB?
I make a motion that we submit that letter forward to the ACC. It's an excellent letter.
I second.
We have a motion and we have it seconded. Any other comment before we take it to a vote? All those in favor? Oh, did I see your hand right here? Yes. No, okay. All those in favor with submitting that letter of request to the ACC from the PAB, raise your hand or say aye.
Aye.
Any nays? The ayes have it, and letter will be going forward to the ACC. Thank you for those two pieces of powerful information that, again, will in tandem, in conjunction, help us with this transparency and this effort to have trends and balances that just that speaks. And I appreciate Chief Eastman with when you were brainstorming about if you had these 17 different things, but yet the outcomes are different based on the interactions or not reporting. That's important to have, and we want to keep that going. So thank you for that. Yeah, I don't think there's any other business. Move forward.
Wave of hand.
We have wave of hand. Chuck.
Thank you. Yeah, I should have presented this earlier, but in the spirit of outreach, August 4th will National Night Out. I know that we had a short window last year. I just wanted to put it out there so that we can start to prepare for that and get whatever outreach materials we need in place and locations where we will be staffing.
Yeah, that's good. That's part of the business. Richard, have you ever experienced or been a part of National Night Out?
Several times, many times.
Many times. I thought you did.
Yep, I did. That doesn't make me an expert. I was.
No, the reason why I ask is because it's good to put this out here now. Because if we can get a two-person team and kind of spearhead with Laura about what and where you think we would need, because Laura can, if we give it to her in time, can get us the flyers that we would need, the table that we would need, cups or pens or whatever we had the last time. I don't know. Laura looked at me and said, I saw erase what I said about cups and pens. Got the look. Yeah, that was, that I know that look because I've been married for a long time, so it got that look. But but if we let Laura know in time, if we have, I don't know. So what I would like to suggest, Chuck and Richard, just to talk about it, to see how we can, what we would need, not to commit to being out.
With respect, I'm at the Citizen Academy that night, so I can help out.
No, yeah, you don't have to, we're not talking about attendance. What I'm more talking about is a plan to say, hey,
what should we?
Here's where it's all happening at. Reach out to the board, say, go here. If we do, what would we need from Laura?
Okay.
Because if we go, because I have to go to almost everywhere that it is as chair, so I'm always around, so I can follow up. And, but handouts, and things like that, again, giving the public, bringing the PAB to their attention while we're out there with the LEAs, because they all attend the same area, so I'm all in on that night, so. All right, okay, thank you for bringing it up, Joe. And I don't think there's any other alibis, anything like that. No, so. Here's the big thing. The next meeting is June 18th. 6-4. At that time, we'll be ready, ad hoc groups will be ready with finalizing all of their conclusions on recommendation. And with that said, Laura, is there any other final announcement you want to announce? Dr. Sutter? None heard. Is there a motion to adjourn?
I will make a motion that we. Second.
Second. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And the nays, ayes have it. We are adjourned.
Good evening, everyone.
Good night, everybody.